Alright. Good morning. Alright. Let's get going here. Happy Monday. So, the last thing we were trying to do was get a styles drop down on the recipe creation page. So when I come over to my recipes, I want to make a new one. Well, right there we have a bug with the new form because we're not doing this right. You can't map this due to the way that this data is set up. So we're going to do it like this. You guys are going to use let. I'm still old school with my lets and whatnot, trying to get used to that new stuff. Okay. Then we're going to want this guy. Get rid of that. And let's say just put an empty array up here, which means we can drop that line. So now we should have the style here. So I think we're going to do something like styles dot push that, and this will be style dot ID, and this will be style dot attributes dot name, I believe. So boom, look at that. Alright, well, it's sorted the wrong way, but that's an easy fix. So we're requesting that stuff up here. Let's see. Yeah, it's kind of annoying that what we're calling styles is also styles in a lot of other ways. So I think it's here, yeah, in the recipe API. Here's our styles. Yep, so we're going to change this from descending to ascending sort order. So now when we get our beer styles back, click this drop down. I should have A's at the top. There we go. Nice. This is not one of those the search inputs. We should make this a search input eventually. I guess it works for now. Ooh, look at Kolsch there. Kolsch is a weird non-UTF-8 character, so that's gonna... The O, I think, in Kolsch has an umlaut. Let's try this. So we'll make a pills. Pills to pay the bills. Nice. Okay, so this is do the same thing we've been seeing where, because of how we're handling the API right now, we're requesting this on the front end. And so when we do a submission, this append to fetch is different than just fetch. So I guess for now we'll do what we shouldn't do and copy and paste some code, put it in here, and for now we'll just at least see if that fixes that bug, and then we can try and figure out how to do that a better way maybe. Okay, so here we have 3 styles, and I think they all have, or 3 recipes, and they should all have different styles. So let's try and get the style name displaying underneath the recipe name so we know what styles we're working with here. Let me see if we're... So what I'm doing now is, okay, so it does fetch the styles, but that's I think for the drop down. Let's take a look at this response. So we have some recipes, but it doesn't look like we're including the styles. So here in our API again, or no, actually, here in the recipe list is where we can send it pagination details. And so we want to include the styles. So next time it does this, recipe get, it should have, nope. So I didn't include it correctly, I guess. Or is it contain? I think it's contain. So that didn't do it either. I know we do it over here in the fermenter. We contain the batches. How does that go? Include batches. So it is include. That all looks correct. Include styles. Give this a reload. Just a sanity check. Alright, no styles. Let's make sure in the database that the record is actually linked to a style. Maybe that link wasn't happening correctly for some reason. Yep. Empty style ID. So, as far as we know right now, things are working. So let's say American Light Lager will be the lager, and the hazy IPA, we might have to, we're going to have to refactor this. No, we don't have to. Okay, so I was saying we have to refactor it because the CRUD JSON API plugin we're using expects a UUID instead of an auto-incremented ID. So this is an auto-incremented ID. Every new record you put in, it just increments the ID by 1, versus this is a UUID, just these random, universally unique identifiers. So the CRUD JSON plugin expects UUIDs to be able to perform CRUD operations on records, but styles, these are hard-coded by the BJCP. Users won't be editing these, or shouldn't be. So we can leave them for now. That might be somewhere we want to come back and change it, but these are almost like constants. They're just in a database table because it'd be a little harder to manage in a text file. So, let's grab one of the other ones. Let's say American IPA, 63. So we'll put this as a 63. And then we'll leave that one empty, just so we can see what happens when we don't have a style rendered. Okay, so now if I reload this, when we get back the recipes, they should include styles. There it is, included, styles, boom, American Light Lager. We get back all the information we need. which is a little much. We don't need all of this for this page. We can limit that and only return what we need to. But that's not crucial at the moment. Let's just get it displaying first. So we probably need to add a roll up the same way we do with the rest of our stuff here. So if you take a look at our batches API, see, I probably just need to put it in this reducer. Yeah, I'll come back to this. This is probably the answer. So what I'm trying to do right now is the way the data comes back, you can see it. It's broken apart just to save on bandwidth. This says I have a relationship with style63, and here's the URL where you can get more information about style63. But it doesn't tell you anything more about style63 right here. But, sorry, I accidentally closed that. But it does, in that included section, it comes along for the ride to save on bandwidth. Because if multiple, if you're returning 50 recipes and they all point at the same style, you don't want to return this whole chunk of data every time for every style. So you return it once, and then you can link it up on the front end, which is what we're doing. So I think actually the fermenter API is the place to look. This is where we've already done this. So yeah, so in this reducer, this is where we take the batches out of that linked payload and put them into each actual batch, so that the front end, the actual front end, the React interface doesn't have to deal with that nesting. So we're going to do the same thing over here, and we are already doing it in the reducer, which is good. So just looking, I think it's going to be in here, and we just want to change batch to style, really. So this should pluck out the styles and put them in to each recipe. And then here on the front end, we just have to make sure we put that as the description. It'll be in the I'm looking for where it outputs the actual recipes, which I think is, just give this a reload. Oh, so it looks like our reducer, we have a bug. Payload.included is undefined. Alright, so let's take a look at that real quick. Our good old friend console log. I could put a debugger in there too, I guess. Undefined. Oh, here it is. Okay, so styles. Okay. So I think it's set up differently because of this. I'll try and comment that line out. Okay, so item.relationships. So what was it saying? Item.relationships is not defined, which would make sense. Oh, payload.included. So I don't know why this is not, doesn't say included like it should, but okay, object, might have to change this up. Action.styles.find, right, action.payload.styles.data. Maybe? Yep, cool. So let's just be sure over here we can maybe just have it output the recipe for us. Right. So each one should have, right there, there's our style with our attributes. So now that we have the data where we want it, on the object that we want it, we should be able to render it. Okay, yeah, so it's going to be this list, I'm pretty sure. If we go back to the fermenter list and see how it's done over here, it's going to be right here, oh, description, batch, that's what we want, okay. So item.meta, description, right, item.subdescription, so this should be style.attributes.name. This is going to break though because I need to do the same kind of ternary operation here. So really, I mean, I can just do item.style. Otherwise, just don't output anything. Boom, there we go. American Light Lager, American IPA. So let's see if editing works, which I don't think it will because it wasn't saving earlier. And right there, it didn't even select what I wanted to have selected. So that's a result of the same bug we just saw, where there's different flows through the API depending whether it's fetching the data fresh or we're updating a record. So it probably runs this bit and it's complaining about styles is undefined on recipe list 239. Right. Again, this is what I don't want to be doing, copying and pasting this code. Yeah, you can see these are my notes from earlier saying, I know I'm not using this React reducer correctly yet because I don't know enough about React, but we're going to get there. So here I should be able to say something like this. That should fix that edit bug. It won't fix not saving it and not loading the correct thing, but it should fix the error we see after saving, or attempting to save. Oh, no. Add button is no. Okay, so the next thing I think we should get going is actually hooking that edit box up. So when I hit edit and select the style, well, when I hit edit, it should have logger selected already, American Light Logger. So why is it not is the question. We can take a look at some of our other forms. We know over here in the fermenters, if I edit, these are selected correctly, but the difference is these are enums versus the style is actually a different database link, so it's a slightly different paradigm. Sorry about that. Sound should be back. I keep doing that. Appreciate the heads up, Pollux. So we got IDs, UUIDs, which is what I was doing this whole time. But I've been muted. I need to stop leaving my mic muted for half the time. Okay, so now that we have these UUIDs in there, I should be able to, the CRUD JSON plugin will play better with it. So let's see. Oh, nice, that actually worked. Alternative sugar beer. So let's set this back to a American light lager. How do you do line breaks from the text you get from the database in React? Well, I mean, your line breaks would need to be in your database, and then when you render them, just make sure you're not escaping those line breaks, right? Or am I not understanding your question? So we're getting the styles undefined after we submit. That's a bug I expected, but why isn't that working? All right, so let's just focus on that. Why the actual edit isn't working. So we're looking for the post that it makes. There's the post. Provided value is invalid for. How is it invalid? ID, there you go. Style, there you go. Unless it's expecting, oh yeah, integer. So that's on I'm not sure what you're getting at here. I mean, you just add those to the text, right? I mean, if you put those in the database, in the text in the database, it'll come out like that, unless there's something along the way escaping or changing it for you. So if we look at, I think it's a recipe table, is, oh, I mean, recipe.php. Or is it style? If you're trying to take input from a multi-line text area and render it with BR and P tags, then yeah, you need to do some kind of transformation. It'll be saved in the database with the line breaks, but they'll just be in the database like that kind of thing, like an escaped line break, which browsers won't render. So yeah, just Google convert line breaks to BR tags, and you'll find what you need. So I'm not sure why it's complaining about. I'm not sure which table this is coming out of, that it's saying it's expecting an integer for the ID field, which isn't correct either way. It might be reading these comments, because that says int. I mean, I kind of doubt it, and I wouldn't be very happy about it if that was the case. Okay, we're gonna provided value is invalid. Type integer. we're trying to update the recipe. Oh, right there. Boom. So we'll just delete that, and that should fix what we need there. Yeah, no worries. Thanks for tuning in. Sweet. So I think that did actually work despite all the errors we see here. So if I reload, we should see American Lager there. No, it didn't. Okay. So I think the error we're seeing is it's complaining about SRM. It's probably this get color method. Yeah, so we just have to say is set, right? Why is my documentation not working? Whatever, I'll do that later. If we don't have that set, then just return, let's do, I guess, we shouldn't return anything. If we don't know what the color is, I don't want to just make up a color. I guess just false, or just return, same thing. Okay, so try this again. American Lager, post, response. Okay. Try this one more time. I think it's sending it back as the wrong name, the wrong field name. It's sending it as, yeah, just style, when it should be style ID. So if we look at, I think that's going to be on the recipe list. Yeah. Field decorator. So this should be style ID, maybe like that, I think. So we're sending it 530 for the style. Alright, well, it did something. Didn't do what we wanted to do, but it did something. So this is empty now. So let's take a look at the database. Okay, so I think what's happening here is this, yep, is set to an int, which can't store the UIDs. So Cake says, hey Mashio, hold this UID here. And Mashio goes, that doesn't fit there. It should have, I mean, it probably should throw an error. I don't know why it wasn't, but okay. Boom, American Lager. And then, yeah, we'll just change this one. Let's say, is there a pill? I mean, I know there's, I think it's under check. Check pills, isn't there? No. I mean, it doesn't really matter, I guess. So I'll just type the database stuff. Let's call it a Roush beer. Why not? So reload. We'll come back and fix that. There you go, Roush beer. Boom. Cool. So we can now officially make recipes and tie them to styles. The nice thing about that is, if you saw, they have all that stuff in there, like the styles have a lot of information about OG minimum, OG maximum, final gravity minimum, final gravity maximum, IBU, SRM, ABV, min maxes. And so when we get to the part where we're designing the recipe builder, we can have it so when you add ingredients, it calculates these numbers based on the ingredients in the recipe you have, and it shows you whether you're, where you land, if you're within your IBU and your SRM min-max ranges. So, we could do that now. I guess we could make this, let's try and do that. We'll make this a link. So I'll try and make it so when we click one of these styles, it takes us to the actual styles page for that style. The problem is we actually don't have a style page yet. This is as close as we have. Clicking this doesn't do anything. I wonder what would even be on that page. I guess the descriptions, the text descriptions. So yeah, we should probably make that page. We got about 9 minutes today. I guess I could just stub that page out. Or let's just finish that bug that I just saw. And maybe we'll do the view page next. So, alright, so the bug we're at now is this edit works, but it just throws a visual error after the edit because it's not bringing the styles back with the API request as it should be doing. So if we look at the recipe API, this is where we're saving the recipe. Here's where we're attaching the styles. So that's not attaching correctly, or something's not happening correctly. So let's just make an edit. Okay. Styles undefined 239. Styles is undefined. I think it's because of this. I need this here. Yep. Well, I do need this here, but I also need it on the submit here. Try that. 10 viewers, cool. Thanks guys for tuning in. We're working on Mashio here, open source homebrew tracking software. So if you like beer and you like code, it's a good place to be. I'm on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 Mountain Time. So I'm almost done, got about 7 minutes left today. See what we can get done. Okay, so here. Right, this is the one that actually matters for now. Hey, thanks for the follow, Blue Pilot Ben. Blue Pilot Pen. ¿Por qué? Here you can see we're getting styles back. They look valid. Yep. So oh right. I was gonna change this because the React interface is already using the name styles for its own thing. So let's make this beer styles. Then we can at least be clear about what we're doing. beer styles. Oh, no, that one needs to say styles, and this one needs to go to beer styles. So then down here, this should be beer styles. And then that's still, yeah. I'll probably still have this same error, but at least it'll be a little easier to see what's happening. This one I still don't like and haven't figured out. It's because I have two forms on the same page, and due to reasons, it doesn't like rendering them both. Wow. That worked. My styles all disappeared, but I didn't get an error. And it did save. So let me set this here to an American IPA. I guess it came through alphabetically. So reload again, that should say American IPA. Nice. Okay, so why after editing do they all disappear? That's the question. These are the fun kind of bugs that I've been experiencing with React. Right here you can see we have 1, 2, 3 styles. If I change one style on one recipe, those all disappear. Fun. So let's go back to this API. This is probably where it's happening. I think maybe it's coming back through here. Let's see. Now let's give it the good old alert. Alerts are fun. I don't care what anybody says. Use. Nice. So yeah, so you can see the problem is this reducer has two different paths it can take. So just like with the fermenter, see we have to do this twice. Yeah. So I'm just going to copy this bit. Down here. And we set this for each on the data instead of the payload. And now when we edit, all the styles should still be there. And like I said, we're going to come and fix this all up because this is requiring 2 API calls every time we render the page. It's not pretty. Actually, that's not true. The different API calls for rendering the form. Fruit beer. Well, they didn't all disappear. That's good. But it also didn't render correctly. There we go. Fruit beer. Alright, bit by bit. Oh yeah, nice. I forgot there was a CSS class that can do what you wanted to do. That'll be easier than doing any kind of data conversion and cleaner. So, good find. Yeah, it's good that you don't have to map that. Okay, so the last bug here is when we edit, it's not changing right away. You have to refresh. So that will be an exercise for Wednesday. I'm going to commit the code where it's at, and if any of you at home want to pull it down, and yeah, if you want to go ahead and fix this bug before I can get to it, be my guest. I'm going to remove these 2 files, and then, yeah, do a quick diff here, make sure. I don't really want to include any of this yet, actually, except for that. Okay, so yeah, we're going to commit the front end stuff, the back end model, and the seeds. We're gonna leave the controllers out. So recipe front end recipe style selection. Alright, so yeah, if you head over to the Mashio site, I'll throw the link in the chat, the code. You can see 14 seconds ago, you can grab the latest code, pull it down. You should be able to just run this one command. If you have Docker installed, that should be all you need. Then you run this just to see the database. Click this link and you'll be off to the races. So let me know if anybody tries it out. And we'll see you on Wednesday. Same time, same channel. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And gals.